My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. This is the only channel dedicated to UFC fight picks and DraftKings lineups run by MMA insiders and professional fighters. Every week, I join Dan Kramer and Nick Newell, two longtime professional fighters that have fought at the highest levels on the planet, as well as Jacob Lyons, a skinny kid from Indiana. So join us every single week for our full fight card breakdowns, our individual fight card breakdowns, our betting guide, and our DraftKings lineups. That was an awesome night of fights, an absolutely awesome night of fights. I absolutely loved it, top to bottom. The whole thing was a ton of fun. Every single fight. We had some all-time fights. The main event, all-time fight. Kyler Phillips, all-time fight. Ton of great fights. And we made a ton of money last night. So hopefully you followed along. Our bets absolutely crushed. Our Monkey Night Fight picks absolutely crushed. DraftKings, little hit or miss in DraftKings, but bets and Monkey Night Fights, profitable as hell, made a ton of money last night. What I'm going to do is walk through our hits, our misses, talk about the fights, and then we're going to talk about our free DraftKings league, who won it and who gets money from us. If you don't know, we have a free DraftKings league, and if you win the league, we give you money. If you're a subscriber, I give you $15. If you're a member, which means you click the join button, I give you $30. So if you're watching this and you won, I didn't even check yet. If you're watching this and you won, make sure you become a member so I can send you $30 instead of 15. So let's talk about our bets. I am up over 3 units, And we always get questions. What's a unit? What's a unit? A unit is an increment of money that you are willing to bet. So in this case, I bet a total of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units. I bet 7 units total. Could be $100, could be 10, could be 1,000. I bet 7 units total. I am up over 3, which is about a 50% return, 50% net profit. Let me walk through my big hits and a couple of misses. TJ Dillashaw money line plus 150. I had 2 full units on that. I had 1 unit on it in the beginning of the week. And then during last night's or yesterday's live stream, I was feeling it. I felt it again. I threw a whole nother unit on that. And if you watched the live stream, you watched me do that. So hopefully you followed along. Then I was on Diana Belbita when I could still get her at plus money. I got her plus 110, full unit on that. Big time miss with Elise Reed. I only had a half a unit on that because, listen, there was a lot of question marks. I wasn't betting that Elise Reed was better. I was betting that Sijara Eubanks would have cardio issues, but that was not the case. Do I look stupid? Castellanes over 1.5 round. I literally missed that by 20 seconds. 20 seconds I missed that. 20 seconds. So 1 unit, didn't hit that. Alan Soriano over 1.5 rounds. I obviously slugged that one. That was a full decision. Punahil Soriano wins by KO, TKO, plus 190. I only had a half a unit on that. What I should have done there was what I did with the next 2 bets, which is win inside the distance, decision, no action. So Rolian Paiva wins inside the distance, decision, no action. Basically, I got a refund. So what that bet means is I bet on Paiva to win by knockout submission. But if it goes to a decision, win or lose, I get a refund. So that 1 unit, I got that back. But then Darren Elkins at plus 160 did get a finish, and I got that big time money. That's another one that I placed during the live stream. As we were breaking down the fights during the live stream, I was like, I think Derek Minner should win, but Darren Elkins is always live for a late finish, always. That's basically what happened. It wasn't too late, but Derek Minner went, that pace was insane. Darren Elkins survived, pulled himself out of a win, and I got that plus money. So I am up over 3 units. Really, really good night for me. Hopefully you followed along, play some of these bets. The 2 units on TJ Dillashaw was great. The Darren Elkins one was great. And then a couple other hits in there as well. And let's take a look at Dan's bets. Dan is up 1.5 units for the most part. So he's got a bunch of misses, but a couple of wins in here, and the wins were big. He has Paiva at plus 240. That's big money. He almost tripled it there. Then he has Sandhagen Dillashaw over 2.5 rounds. I absolutely loved that bet. And Eubanks Reed fight does not start round 3. That was a great bet for him as well. I should have jumped on that one because I did think Sijara was going to gas, but I didn't think she would get finished, and I was completely wrong because she ended up getting the finish. So overall, big time wins for us last night with the bets. If you like these bets and you like our bets and you like these interesting props, again, the Paiva, Darren Elkins wins inside the distance, decision, no action. I love those insurance bets. You guys know me. I'm very conservative with my bets, and I will take lesser odds for a little more insurance. You are only going to get those at wewantpicks.com/bets. Grab yourself a match and let it fly. Let's talk about monkey knife fights. Every single week, I do this recap, and every week I win hundreds of dollars. And I tell you how you cannot miss with monkey knife fights. And I know it sounds like a sales pitch. I really do. But hopefully you guys are paying attention and signing up. There is free money with the promo code. wewantpicks.com/MKF. You sign up. You use promo code WWP. They will instantly match your deposit. They give you free money. Take the free money and play with the free money. If you're worried, I don't know what this is, I've never done it before, the name is stupid, it doesn't matter because we win every single week. I'm telling you, this is the most consistent money you will ever make watching fights. Period. End of story. And it's daily fantasy. It's not gambling. No offshore accounts, nothing like that. It's literally daily fantasy. You can do it from an app in your phone. Pay attention. We do not miss. And it's almost impossible to miss because you triple your money with every single play. I talked about it during the live stream, and people flooded the live stream saying, I don't miss, I don't miss, I don't miss. And last night, a lot of you, and we're going to talk about these fights, I know you disagree with a bunch of those judges' scorecards. Guess what? It doesn't matter in monkey knife fight. It doesn't matter. You're not picking winners and losers. You're identifying how many strikes you think will be landed. So let's walk through our big wins. I only did 6 of them, and I still made a lot of money. So I did the more on Phillips Paiva. I played $10 to win 30. You triple your money. I missed the more on Minner Elkins, but I did the less on Maverick Barber. That was a high line. You see 82 strikes for Maverick, 38 for Barber. 94 for Maverick, 56 for Barber. And they only did 82, 38. I like the less there. I hit the less, 10 to win 30 again. Then I did the more on Yanez Costa. I did 20 to win 50. You see that one's not a triple. That's because I played that early. As soon as I saw that line, I was like, this fight is going to go a little longer than they think, and it's going to be a firefight. So I hammered that line early. Then if you take a look here, I did Knockout Kings. What Knockout Kings does is you pick 3 fighters, you lay them out, and then you say how many knockouts you think you'll get. I picked Sandhagen, Yanez, and Soriano. I didn't have Sandhagen win this fight. I picked Dillashaw to win the fight, and he did. But I still threw Sandhagen in here because, again, I'm just chasing knockouts to win this money. I played $50, which at the time was the max you could do. Played $50 to win $62.50, essentially a 25% profit. And that's all because Yanez is knockout. And again, I'm conservative. I only needed 1. I got 1. I could have tried to get 3, but I knew, let me play it safe. I'd rather get consistent money every single week than chasing the big dogs. And speaking of big dogs, I did a 3. I took 3 fighters, smashed them together. I played $20 to win $100. I 5 times my money. I did the less on Maverick, less on Ewell, less on Eubanks, $20 to win $100. I'm telling you, you cannot miss. I have a miss in here. I still made a ton of money. You could take another one out of here, and I will still make a ton of money. So go to wewantpicks.com/MKF, promo code WWP. I am telling you right now, you cannot lose. And guess what? It is for all sports. You don't have to wait till UFC next weekend. It's for all sports. Grab it. Baseball, hockey, soccer, whatever the hell you want. They have Olympic props too. Jump in there, play it. This is a PSA. This is a public service announcement. You cannot lose money playing monkey knife fights. Let's talk about the fights. Again, awesome night of fights. Every single one of these fights was a ton of fun. Every single one. I don't think I saw a single boring fight, and some of them were absolutely phenomenal. So opening the card was Diana Belbita, Hannah Goldy. I had Diana winning. Diana won. I said, Hannah, she's a little tank, but she doesn't really have a ton of power, doesn't really have takedowns. That's basically what happened. This was a fun fight. This absolutely was a fun fight. Hannah looked better than she usually does. She came forward, dictated the pace, landed some solid shots. Listen, I wouldn't say either one of these women is going to be contending for a title anytime soon, but a really fun fight. Diana Belbita looked fantastic. She got hit a lot, but she also did a lot of touching up. I've got to look at that striking differential. It must be a 1-to-1, take one, give one. But either way, she had solid movement, touched up Hannah Goldy's face, and it was a really, really fun fight to watch. Sijara Eubanks versus Elise Reed. This was my big miss. I had Elise Reed winning. But again, I didn't have Elise Reed winning because I said Elise Reed was the better fighter, because she's not. She was 4-0 at the time, now 4-1. But Sijara Eubanks is a very, very good fighter, much better than her record, which was 500 going into this. And I knew that. My big sort of concern here was that Sijara Eubanks was going to gas. She has gassed in the past at 135. She's down at 125 now. I was like, there's no way she's going to have the cardio for this. But she came out. We didn't even get to find out about her cardio because she came out, threw big bombs, immediately dropped, took a shot, took her to the ground, and then that was the end of that. So we didn't even get to see the cardio. But when she got on the mic, she talked about she changed her entire life, literally changed her entire life to address her cardio and take her fighting career seriously. And good for her, because it was obvious. It was very obvious. Granted, this is a big step down in competition compared to what she's been doing, but she looked fantastic last night. Good for her. I'm curious to see where the rest of her career goes, but good for her. I threw a little flyer on Elise Reed at really solid plus odds. I was banking on the cardio, but guess what? Didn't need it. Eubanks looked fantastic. Good for her. Mickey Gall versus Jordan Williams. Listen, I was not high on Mickey Gall at all. And if you look at his past fights, it's pretty obvious why, right? But he actually looked decent last night. Had heavy hands. We knew he could grapple. Jacob was all about Mickey Gall. And you guys crapped on him in the comments for it, but he was all about Mickey Gall in this fight. And good for him. Mickey Gall with the win as an underdog. And speaking of underdogs, I didn't do the math, but I think 10 out of 12 underdogs won last night. 11, because we had a fight drop. Maybe it's 9 of 11 or 10 out of 11. The dogs were out. Mickey Gall was one of them. He had big, heavy hands and then immediately went to the grappling where he's comfortable. And the announcers talked about it, right? The announcers were like, he's having a ton of success on his feet. Why is he shooting takedowns right now? But it didn't matter because he got there. He got the submission. Good for Mickey Gall. If you had him in your DraftKings lineup, great job. Ian Heinisch versus Nasruddin Imavov. And Imavov looked fantastic. And I thought Ian Heinisch looked flat and like crap. I don't think he looked good at all. He's jacked up. He come forward, big, heavy bombs, trying to make something happen. And Nasruddin would just solid footwork, moving out of the way, controlled the distance, controlled the grappling exchanges. Nasruddin looked fantastic. And you know what? Another underdog win. And Nasruddin, there was a lot of recency bias coming into this fight because Phil Hawes smoked him. Ian Heinisch, good grappler, uses grappling well. And everybody, me kind of included, was saying that Ian Heinisch's grappling, he's going to do to Nasruddin what Phil Hawes did. It wasn't even close. I mean, Nasruddin looked absolutely amazing. Good for him. I look forward to seeing his next fight. He definitely made adjustments that he needed to make, and he looked absolutely fantastic. His hands were good. His grappling sort of defense and controlling the cage was really good. Nasruddin Imavov bounced back from that Phil Hawes lost, and he looked absolutely fantastic. Punahele Soriano versus Brendan Allen. So I hit the bet, right? I had over 1.5 rounds. I missed the bet because I threw a little tiny touch of money on there for Punahele to get a knockout. But listen, when I did my breakdown, my pick was Brendan Allen. And I said, the veteran savvy, he can control the grappling. He's just got more tricks, blah, blah, blah. Listen, the pick was right. The analysis, I mean, I don't know. You let me know in the comments. Did you really think Brendan Allen was going to go out there and outstrike Punahele? Outstrike him? See, not only did he out-volume him, he out-accuracied him, and I would say he had the more significant strikes. So obviously, first round, everything that Puni threw Puna threw was insane. Everything with 1,000% looking for that knockout. And he did touch Brendan Allen, but Brendan Allen's got a chin, stayed composed. I mean, I don't know how he stayed so composed with missiles coming at his head the way they were, but he absolutely did. Brendan Allen looked fantastic. He moved the way he needed to move. I will say it's concerning, and this is going to sound so stupid. It's concerning that Brendan Allen is so willing to strike because he will get touched up. This was a good matchup striking-wise for him, and hindsight's 2020. This was a good matchup striking-wise for him because Brendan Allen had solid footwork, was touching and moving. And Punahil, big shot. If it's not there, he gassed out and slowed down. But Brendan Allen, we've seen him lose these striking battles. We've seen him lose them. And if he goes in there with another guy that's got the same ranginess and distance and moves and isn't looking for big knockout punches, he'll get touched up. So I'm happy that Brendan Allen won. I'm happy it went to a decision because I hit that bet over 1.5 rounds. But I think he needs to not forget his wrestling roots because this success may end up hurting him in the long run, right? Because he may feel so comfortable striking now that he's going to strike with the wrong person and end up on the wrong side of it. Either way, Brendan Allen, his name comes up every freaking week because he fights everybody, makes the improvements. Good for him. It was a really fun fight, and he looked fantastic. This is the one. This is the one you guys went nuts about in the comments. Miranda Maverick versus Maycee Barber. Controversial decision. I rewatched it 15 minutes before I started recording. So, first round, Miranda Maverick won. She came forward, dictated the pace, was in Maycee Barber's face. The bigger strikes, controlled the cage. She won that round, 10-9. The second round is tricky. It is tricky. The second round, Maycee Barber turned it on. She started to push the pace a little bit. She threw in a takedown there. There was a whizzer. There was an exchange. And it wasn't until the last, 20 seconds, Miranda Maverick got a takedown, took her back, and controlled the end of that round. I scored that round. Me, Angelo. I scored that round for Maverick. Because at the end of the day, the stand-up was pretty even. I think Maycee was the one dictating the pace in the second round. I do think she was dictating the pace in the second round. But for the most part, nothing crazy. But Miranda Maverick, with a real takedown, got back control, was controlling that fight for the end of the round. I thought that was enough to flip it towards her. And then the third round, Maycee Barber won. I don't know anybody who's going to debate that. So if we look at the judges' scorecards, they saw it, and it was pretty straightforward for them. They saw first round for Miranda Maverick, as I did and as you did. And then two of them went second and third round for Maycee Barber. Listen, I disagree with it. But after rewatching that fight, and I encourage you to do the same, I don't think it was absurd. I disagree with it, but I don't think it was like the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. This is a rob. It was definitely bad. And Miranda Maverick should have won 2 rounds to 1 round. But rewatching it, I don't think it was. I could see how the judges got there. Again, I disagree, but I could see how they got there. I don't know if you run that fight back, but it was an entertaining fight. And honestly, it's probably better for the division that this happened because Maycee Barber is pretty good. And I said this in the pre-fight. I was like, I'm not touching this. This is a super close fight. Don't let the odds fool you. Maycee Barber is very good. She's going to make the changes that she needs to make. I had Maverick winning as a pick. I had Maverick winning as a judge. But either way, it was a good fight, and it's probably better for the division that Maycee Barber won this fight and can continue on her path. Derek Minner versus Darren Elkins. So 2 things here. 1, my bad. And I'm saying my bad to the dude in the comment section that I was arguing with. I said, Derek Minner isn't going to gas. He doesn't gas. And historically, Derek Minner had cardio issues. Then he seemed to fix his cardio issues over his last few fights. And then last night, cardio issues. The pace he put on in that first round, I don't know who wouldn't gas. I mean, that was a pace. He looked fantastic. You could see Darren Elkins' face right here. So Derek Minner put on that pace. He definitely gassed. So my bad. Dude I was arguing with, you're right. I'm wrong. With that being said, good for me. Thank God I put out that Darren Elkins bet. I broke down our bets earlier. I did a Darren Elkins wins by stoppage, but a decision is no action. He ended up winning by stoppage. I almost doubled my money on that bet because I thought, my analysis was the most likely outcome is Derek Minner wins a decision, but Darren Elkins is never out of a fight, and he could get a stoppage there. So that was the bet. I hit the bet, so I can't be mad at it. And it's funny when we talk about picks, and the channel's name is We Want Picks, and I know you guys want picks. Like, we break down the fights, and you want me to say this person wins, this person loses. The reality is when we look at fights and how to make money on fights, because that's the only reason picks matter. Who cares about picks if you're not using them to make bets or DraftKings lineups or whatever, right? Who cares about picks? So the pick was Derek Minner, but the actual bet where I put my money was on Darren Elkins in an insurance bet, and it worked out. So at the end of the day, I'll probably get panned for how did you pick Minner? You lost. Did I lose though? Because I didn't lose any money. I made money by betting on Darren Elkins. So I know you guys want picks and you just want to know this guy loses, this guy wins, etc. But pay attention to all of it. Pay attention to the analysis. Pay attention to the bets, because if you're looking to make money here, that's where that money is. Kyler Phillips versus Rylan Paiva. This could have been fight of the year. I mean, this was a fight. This was awesome. Kyler Phillips was Jacob's lock. And in that first round, Kyler Phillips looked, what a round that was. He almost stopped Paiva 4 or 5 times in one round. It was incredible. This was another one where you guys are disagreeing with the scorecards and it's a mess. And the judges, again, I see what happened with the judges. I disagree, but I see what happened. So the way I scored this was a 10-8 first round for Kyler Phillips and then 10-9, 10-9 for Paiva in the next 2 rounds. This is a draw if I'm a judge. First round, Kyler Phillips came out there. He literally almost stopped Paiva 4 times. Like, he dropped him. He beat the piss out of him. When they were on the ground, I thought that referee was going to stop it. 5 seconds left. Paiva's head is just bouncing off of the mat. And if you remember, I had a bet on Paiva. I had the same bet that I did with Darren Elkins. Wins inside the distance, but a decision is no action. So at that point, I'm like, okay, no way he wins inside the distance. Just survive. I just need you to survive. And then he turned it on. He won the second round. He dropped Kyler Phillips. He won the third round. He was fresher, was coming forward. That veteran savvy made it happen. Paiva was my pick in the breakdown. I bet on him. I got a refund on that bet, so I didn't lose it. I didn't win it. I get a refund. I disagree with the judges, though. I do think it was a draw. I think it was a 10-8 first round for Kyler Phillips and then 2 10-9s. If that's not a 10-8, what is? To me, a 10-8 is you almost finish the fight, but just don't. And that's exactly what that was. Let me know in the comments what you think about that first round, because I had 10-8 Kyler and then Paiva, veteran savvy, better cardio, better hands, turned it on and made it happen the next 2 rounds. The main event, Corey Sandhagen and the return of TJ Dillashaw. This was a great fight. This fight was a ton of fun. I picked TJ Dillashaw. You guys did not like that pick. You absolutely did not like that pick. You sort of beat me up in the comments, in the live stream. Oh, TJ's a cheater. Listen, I don't think he's a good human being, but I know he's an incredible fighter. I do think he won this fight. So I picked him to win, and I think he won. Right? I watched that fight again. I rewatched him right before I started filming. I think he won that fight. And the grappling was the difference. First round, everybody thought he won, right? Third round, he beat the crap out of Sandhagen in the third round. The other rounds, it was a little closer, and Sandhagen won the stand-up. TJ won the grappling. And at the end of the day, the judges saw the grappling, thought that was more effective. Whether it was the true takedowns and the grappling on the ground or the grappling against the cage, that's what the judges saw. And the judges thought it was more effective. And I completely agree with that. People were sleeping on TJ Dillashaw, talking about Sandhagen's going to knock him out in a round. Sandhagen's going to be everybody just forgot how good TJ Dillashaw was. And last night when they were going through the stats, hopefully you guys remembered. I mean, 2-time champion. He beat every single person ranked above him, below him. I mean, he was the real deal. He lost to Henry Cejudo, but Henry Cejudo might be the greatest of all time. We won't know because he retired super early. But TJ Dillashaw looked absolutely, for a 2-year layoff, the injuries that he had, so he basically blew out his knee in the first round. He had that ridiculous cut on his face, which he said was the cut that delayed this fight a few times. If you don't see that and say how incredibly tough TJ is, how next level he is, upper echelon in that division, then you're out of your mind. I mean, TJ Dillashaw looked great last night, fought through adversity, made it happen, and showed that he can be a champion again, was a real champion. TJ Dillashaw, that was an awesome, awesome fight, and he looked fantastic. I hit my bet. I had 2 full units on TJ Dillashaw. I did one in the beginning of the week, and then during the live stream, I was like, you know what? TJ's going to win this fight, and I threw a whole nother unit on him. It was a really close back and forth fight, so I don't want my tone to make it sound like I thought it was a murder, but it was a close fight. I thought TJ absolutely won, and let's take a look at that scorecard. It's funny because he won, but the judges were a little back and forth with which rounds he won. So all 3 judges gave him the first round, which I completely agree with. All 3 judges had him losing the second round, which I agree with. All 3 judges had him winning the third round, which I agree with. So the first 3 rounds, they were completely in sync. 2 for TJ, 1 for Sandhagen. It's the 4th and 5th that changed. 1 judge didn't give him either. Then we had Sal D'Amato gave him the 5th. Junchiro Kamijo gave him the 4th. And that was interesting. Those were close rounds. I watched them again. The grappling was the difference in those rounds, but it is interesting how they alternated there, which ones they gave him. But TJ Dillashaw looked great. Great win. I absolutely loved it because I made a bunch of money on that. Let's take a look at the DraftKings League. If you don't know, we have a free DraftKings League. It is free to join, free to play, and we give out free money. We give you money. If you're a subscriber and you win, I send you $15, Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, however you want it. If you're a member, which means there's a join button under this video, and you click that join button, I send you $30. And we literally do it because we're trying to grow the channel and build support. So let's take a look, see who won that money, and the real 513, you win. I owe you money. Hopefully you're a member, and I owe you $30. If not, I owe you 15. Go to wewantpicks.com at the bottom of the page. Contact us. Let me know how you want to get paid, and I will pay you. Anybody else watching, you want to join, wewantpicks.com, click on DraftKings, join the league there. Let's take a look at your lineup. And the dogs were out. The dogs were out. I said it earlier. I don't know the exact number. I don't know if it was 10 out of 11 or 9 out of 11, but almost every single underdog won last night. Period. End of story. Whether you agree or disagree with the decisions, almost every single underdog won last night. So let's take a look at your lineup. You went 4-2. The fact that there were 70 people in this that participated this week, and the winning lineup went 4-2, tells you how crazy last night was. So you missed Sandhagen, you missed Phillips. Kyler Phillips scored more points in a loss than Paiva did in a win. And I know you guys are furious about that, but the reality is it was the knockdown and the wrestling. 4 takedowns, that is 20 points. Takedowns are 5 points each. 4 takedowns is 20 points. And it's funny, I talked about picks earlier. The difference between picks and what you do with those picks. Picks don't matter. Picks don't matter. I picked Paiva to win. I said, I think Paiva wins this fight. But for DraftKings, I had Kyler Phillips. Not because I thought he was going to win necessarily. Obviously, it was a very close fight. I thought he could win. But I thought the takedowns would score a ton of points, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, that was an awesome fight. Takedown scored a ton of points. So those are your 2 misses. Darren Elkins for the win. That was awesome. 121 points. Barber, 54 points. Very low scoring win, but still solid win. Yanez, 105. Mickey Gall, 106. This is a good lineup because you had a bunch of underdogs in here. It's funny because the reason you had 4 winners is because you had underdogs. Mickey Gall, underdog. Barber, underdog. Elkins, underdog. So Yanez was a favorite. Only one of your favorites won, 2 lost. And that tells you how crazy last night was. Let's take a look at second place. Zach 11B, Same situation, 4-2. Oh, you had the exact same lineup. Let's go, Joel, man. 490 points. You went 4-2. Eubanks for 113. Yanez for 105. Heinisch only 11 points. That's a rough one. I had Reed, so nothing's worse than that. I don't know if she scored any points. Elkins 121. Dillashaw 110. Great lineups, guys. I'm very curious to see the giant leagues, the big $100,000 leagues, what that perfect lineup was. I'll have to go look that up now. Either way, like, subscribe. We do this for you. We do it all for free. We literally give you money. Like, subscribe. It costs you nothing. It's incredibly supportive and helpful for us. We made a ton of money last night, and I hope you did too. Like, subscribe, follow us. We'll see you every single week. And the Real 513, reach out so I can pay you. I'll see you guys next week.